It's a whiteout inside one of the loudest arenas in the NBA. They are rocking tonight as we get set for the Timberwolves and the Warriors, a 6-7 matchup in the Western Conference and the lone NBA playoff game on the schedule tonight. Hi, everybody. Brian Anderson with Stan Van Gundy. We'll hear from Lauren Jabara in just a moment. The Minnesota Timberwolves did not play well, Coach, in Game 1. The Warriors came in, took Game 1, but they lost their star. He's the headline. Story right now for Minnesota is how are they going to respond tonight?
Well, look, they need their star, Anthony Edwards, to play the way he did in the first 4 games of the playoffs. But they also need to take care of the ball, defend and rebound better, and, of course, make some shots.
For the Warriors, minus Stephen Curry, what is Steve Kerr's rotation going to look like tonight, Coach?
Well, Jimmy Butler said it. All hands on deck. The Warriors have to lean on the league's best defense since the Jimmy Butler trade, and they need the fabled playoff Jimmy to transition back to being the #1 option he was when he led Miami to 2 finals appearances.
Steve Kerr played 12 players in Game 1. Figures to be the same tonight. As you check the starting lineups, Quentin Post, the 25-year-old rookie out of Boston College, will make his second playoff start. Went from a 2-way contract to a starter in the playoffs. He joins Podziemski, Hield, Butler, and Green, and the same starting 5 for the Minnesota Timberwolves they have used in all 6 of their playoff games, and now a 7th as Post gets a big start on the road in the playoffs. But expect Steve Kerr to tinker with that rotation quite a bit, as we saw in Game 1 when Stephen Curry left in the second quarter. Minnesota comes in after taking out the Lakers in 5. They had 5 days off between games, and they looked rusty in Game 1. But they do come in on a nice winning streak prior to Game 1, winning 13 of 16. And here we go. Tony Brothers, Tyler Ford, Brian Forte, our 3 officials. Minnesota controls the opening tip. Lone game on the NBA playoff schedule tonight. Let's see what kind of response the Wolves give them. That's stripped by Buddy Hield. And that'll be Minnesota ball with 6 to shoot.
Hield again gets the assignment on Anthony Edwards, which you see Draymond Green with the quick help.
Got to get a shot up. Julius Randle guarded by Green. Randle kicks it out to the corner, and the three-pointer is good. And it's already a better start for Minnesota.
Well, it's already a better first half for 3. They were 0 for 15 in the first half the other night. First time they'd had an 0 from 3 in 7 years and a half.
Here's Brandon Podziemski, misses his first try. Could be a wild card for the Warriors tonight. Jaden McDaniels was 0 for 3 in Game 1 from beyond the arc. There were a lot of 0-fers for the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 1. Randle, they clear it out, backing down Butler. Now Conley will let a 3 fly, and that one goes.
Well, and that's a good one for Conley, too. He only came in shooting 26% from 3 in the playoffs after 41% in the regular season.
Conley missed his 2 3-point tries in Game 1. Podziemski finds Hield. You'll hear the boos every time Butler touches the basketball as Conley forces a turnover. Edwards on the move. Edwards looking for Gobert. No, he found McDaniels. He had 2 options. And Steve Kerr with a quick timeout.
The Wolves on their best start of the playoffs so far on an 8-0 run. Now, we talked to Chris Finch before the game today, and he told us there was a lot that we needed to do better from Game 1. He said it wasn't just about the shooting. It was about the offensive rebounding. It was about playing in transition. It was about ball possession. He said we fell into old habits. We weren't ready for their speed. And so that was something they wanted to focus on today. Also, guys, talking to Dante DiVincenzo, he told me that shooting night was an anomaly for us, but the focus now is controlling what we can control. He said they came in through the first punch, played with the edge and identity that we pride ourselves on. So tonight is an opportunity to get our rhythm back on both sides of the ball. 8-0 run to start. Looks like that rhythm's back, guys.
Well, it does. And Chris Finch made the point that he hadn't seen that team. He called them the November Wolves. Yeah. That was painful. That's a team that ended November at 9-10. They finished the year 17-4, playing great at both ends of the floor. And just the other night looked like an entirely different team after an impressive series against the Lakers. This one goes off Brandon Podziemski.
To Gobert, and Podziemski's face have been familiar customers here. He's got a black eye, Podziemski, under his right eye. That was due to a Gobert elbow in game one. And now Gobert just drops his shoulder. Podziemski stands in there tough and takes the charge. He finished third in the NBA this year in charges taken, second last year, and he forces a turnover.
Here's the thing, it's not only, people always talk about guys who are willing to give up their body, which is true, you have to be. But also, you've got to rotate quickly enough, see the play coming to get into position. That's great off-ball defense by Brandon Podziemski, and it's more than just courage.
McDaniels giving Jimmy Butler all he can handle that trip down the floor. McDaniels, a supreme perimeter defender. Here's Edwards, got caught in the air. And now post guards Randall. This will be a matchup to watch tonight. McDaniels has already hit 1-3. Podziemski on him. Warriors a very good defensive team, especially when they got Jimmy Butler. And it's a 10-0 start for Minnesota. Could not be a better start for the Wolves. Warriors only trailed by 4 in game one, and they're down 10 here in the first 2.5 minutes of this game. Buddy Hield turned away, resets, missed it. And now it is the Warriors who cannot buy one. They are 0 for 4.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. Not having Steph Curry affects their offense.
It's a big problem.
They pay me for this kind of expert analysis.
You noticed that on the scouting report, didn't you? Randall just bullies his way in. Count that. That's going to be an and one as Buddy Hield didn't have his heart in it, and Randall will go to the line for a three-point chance.
Well, here's what we're talking about, though. Buddy Hield's willing to take the contact, but he's late coming over. You've got to be both. You've got to see the play coming and get over on time, and then be willing to give up your body. And Buddy Hield will take a break, and Gary Payton II and Moses Moody enter the game. It's a very small Golden State team. They've started a little bigger tonight with Post, but even when Curry is there, this is a small team, much, much smaller than Minnesota.
Julius Randle had that big game 5 that knocked the Lakers out. The former Laker had a terrific run in round 1 after a so-so game 1 against the Lakers. He was excellent. 4 consecutive 20-plus point games, and he's called for the foul here on Draymond Green. Warriors still searching for their first basket. 2 of their misses are three-pointers.
Well, here's one of the problems, B.A. They need a lot more out of Jimmy Butler. There's absolutely no question about that. But with Steph Curry out, now Jaden McDaniels, one of the best perimeter defenders, like you said, in the league, goes on Jimmy Butler. Last game, he opened on Curry, and Randall had to guard Jimmy Butler. So now Jimmy Butler with even a tougher matchup on a night where they need more out of him.
Curry's going to be reevaluated prior to game 5. Game 5 will be back here, if necessary, in Minneapolis, and by all accounts it will be. Doesn't figure to be a series. That'll be a sweep as Mike Conley misses the three-point try. It's out of bounds, and that'll be Golden State ball. And that is the first missed three-pointer by the Wolves. Podziemski pushes. And now Draymond directing traffic.
Well, that's what he does best.
Moses Moody, Gary Payton II, first off the bench for Kerr tonight. And now Podziemski kicks it to that corner for Payton. He misses a 3. And Edwards tips it to Gobert. That was a good look, but a miss nonetheless. Conley drives it. Gobert inside, and Payton touched it last, kicked it out of bounds. Minnesota ball.
Mike Conley's a great passer. I don't like that straight line pass to Rudy Gobert. I think with 7-footers, the ball's got to go up in the air to them. They will usually have no trouble catching that. That bullet pass right at them, in traffic, your vision and everything, not easy to catch.
Payton, an excellent defender, out on Edwards, who gets a step. Edwards, wow, what a move, he missed it. Here comes Podziemski. Jimmy Butler, and now Podziemski will let it fly. Three-pointer, no good. Podziemski has missed twice. That's typically his spot.
Well, the other night, this was the end of the floor where the ball actually went in for both teams.
That's right.
It was the other end
left
of the
side,
team where they
right.
couldn't score.
Yeah, it was one of the worst shooting performances that we've seen in the playoffs. And Minnesota's not hiding from that. But as Lauren reported, Chris Finch did not want his players just marking that off as a poor shooting game. He felt like they didn't do anything well. They didn't move well. Their rotations were poor. Their spacing was poor. Jimmy Butler for three. That line drive is good. And the first basket of the game for the Golden State Warriors.
5 minutes in almost before they get a score.
Randall guarded by Butler. Randall moves him, comes up short.
That's great defense by Jimmy Butler.
Steve Kerr made no bones knowing what you're losing in Stephen Curry, but also reminded us that the Warriors defense has been a big reason why they've been on this surge since they acquired Butler. It has changed the complexion of their team. As Butler turns it over, look at Gobert trying to go coast to coast, and he lost it.
They call that delusional confidence.
Gobert gets it back, missed it. That was a mess of a fast break opportunity for the Wolves.
Well, and that's one of the things Chris Finch talked about pregame, is he felt the other night they had transition opportunities and were extremely inefficient in transition, and we see an example of that there.
Butler, mid-range jumper up and over Gobert. Back-to-back possessions for Jimmy Butler. Yeah, you can see that look. Chris Finch is now in his 5th year. It's his 4th full season. Came in as an assistant elsewhere. You don't really see that to become a head coach on another franchise. He's done a great job. 4 straight playoff appearances for Finch and the Wolves, and they were in the Western Conference Finals against Dallas a year ago. Conley turns it over. Here goes Moses Moody, and Moses Moody, ooh, tough in there. He was just uncertain what he wanted to do, and he fires up an air ball, and that's going to send us to a timeout, Minnesota. A rough start for the Warriors. Minnesota needing one tonight before they head back to San Francisco for Game 3. You're watching the 2025 NBA playoffs presented by Google.
One game tonight, Charles.
Yes.
Don't forget to download the FanDuel Sports app. It's the best place for live betting and same-game parlays, and it pays out what?
Instantly.
Yes, it does. Who scores more points tonight, Jimmy Butler or Ant-Man Anthony Edwards?
Ant-Man.
Oof. I'm going to agree with you on that, Chuck.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Chuck. I always enjoy watching Chuck read along with Kenny while he's speaking.
Absolutely.
So my favorite part of that promo.
So we're 6.5 minutes into this game, BA, and the Warriors do not have a starter on the floor.
Dante DiVincenzo coming off that Minnesota bench. Loose ball foul on Golden State. Check those changes for Golden State. We're going to see a lot of combinations. There's going to be line changes. Pat Spencer, Kevon Looney, Jonathan Kuminga join Moody and Payton. Steve Kerr told us before the game he's got his hyena package set up for tonight's game. The guys who come off the bench, he's going to go starterless and see if he can get a burst if needed. He's got him out there a little earlier than he thought as DiVincenzo misses. A couple of opportunities there for Minnesota, and they're struggling now after a fast start. And Spencer taking it to the hole. And a foul. Spencer thought it was a goaltend. I don't think Tony Brothers saw it that way. But Spencer, a guy who is not afraid, is going to the line now.
Well, and this is what he does. He takes the ball to the basket. Strong. We saw it the other night. Minnesota's going to challenge this, and I can see why, having looked at this.
So Chris Finch is going to challenge this. That's the second foul on Gobert.
Ruling on the floor, foul on Gobert. The play has been challenged by Minnesota.
Says Tony Brothers. We'll get the result when we come back. We have a challenge in the first quarter. It's time to take a Visible wireless timeout.
Hi, we're Visible. If you're looking for one-line wireless plans without hidden fees and surprise charges for just $25 a month, Visible is for you. That's one line for one flat rate, taxes and fees included on Verizon's 5G network. Plus, with unlimited data and hotspot, you can scroll to your heart's content. Finally, A clear choice in wireless for just $25 a month. Hear the confetti. Your wireless should be visible. Switch at visible.com.
Well, Stan, this could not have gone better to start this game for the Wolves. They were up 13-0. Matches the best start of the playoffs this year with the Milwaukee Bucks. But they are 0 for their last 7 now. And I think for the Warriors, Steve Kerr said, we just want to tighten the screws as best we can and hang in here as long as we can.
Right, and they feel like if they can hang in there, then they've got one of the best closers in the game in Jimmy Butler, and he can make plays. But their defense has got to keep them in the game, and they can't make a lot of mistakes.
Right, well, the challenge was successful. And so no foul. Remember, Gobert would have picked up his second, and instead, that's a clean block.
And I think we're going to jump it up because they're going to say the ball was loose, no imminent possession there. But a good challenge by Chris Finch, because it would have been Gobert's second foul. But Chris Finch was upset, quite honestly, about having to use that challenge to get out of that.
That's valid. He is successful. He does still have one left, but forced to use it. Give McDaniels a block on that, too. And Minnesota has possession, missing their last 7 shots. Edwards going to work, and he's fouled. Edwards did most of his damage in game 1, and it was a dreadful game for him. But he did end up with 23 points. 22 of those were in the second half, and a lot of them looked just like that, getting to the basket.
Well, that's what he was doing. Steve Kerr wants to do a better job. He was great before the game, Steve Kerr. Yeah, we have to do a better job of keeping Anthony Edwards out of the paint. But I have no idea how to do that.
That's right. He sees the problem. The solution is a challenge, though. We remind you tonight, the NBA on TNT, brought to you by the Kia Telluride X-Line. Kia, the official automotive partner of the NBA. 2 for 2 for Edwards at the line. Minnesota back up 10. Pat Spencer getting some early playing time in this first quarter. And Spencer turns it over. Edwards on the run with DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo to Naz Reid. First minutes on the floor, and he misses. And DiVincenzo runs it down. Great effort. Naz Reid again. Naz Reid hits it this time.
Well, DiVincenzo's really been struggling to shoot the ball. When you're like that, you have to find other ways to help your team win. You saw it right there, getting them an extra possession that was worth 3 points.
Kuminga drives it on DiVincenzo. Draws the foul. DiVincenzo is a handful. Minnesota throughout the regular season, especially once they got to Christmas Day, they really proved they have an excellent bench. And 1 through 8, their roster showed that they're a much better team than a 6 seed in the NBA playoffs.
Well, no question, and we said that at the beginning of this series. This, to me, is really a matchup of like the 2 and 3 seeds in the West if we looked at who they were at the end of this year. Now, the Warriors without Steph Curry, they don't look like a 2 or a 3 seed.
They finished 17-4. Randall came back from injury after he missed all of February, and then they were a different team after that. Got on a hot streak, got out of that play-in, and ended up with the 6 seed to take on the 3 seed Lakers in round 1. Edwards again drives, missed it. Gobert is there for a putback. It was Rudy Gobert who had that monster game 5, the closeout game against the Lakers. 27 points, 24 rebounds.
Yeah, 9 of them offensive. He's got to make his size a factor against a very small Golden State team, and that's the first bucket for the Warriors made by anyone other than Jimmy Butler. They were 0 for 9 before that.
Naz Reid finds himself open, missed it. DiVincenzo offensive board, Edwards got a 3.
That's DiVincenzo's 3rd offensive rebound already, and the last 2 have led to Wolves 3s, and that's Anthony Edwards' first half bucket of this series.
Wolves have missed 15 three-pointers in the first half in game 1. They missed 16 straight, actually. DiVincenzo the deflection. Here comes Alexander Walker. He lays it in. So the bench mob has come in, made an impact. Look at that score. Minnesota has arrived in this second round. Well, now it feels like a target center game here in this terrific run the Wolves have been on the last 4 years. 4 playoff appearances, a Western Conference Finals appearance a year ago. They've had some down times here, Stan, but when it's good here, it's really good here, especially in this arena. They are right on top of you, and they are loud right now, and they've jumped out to a 25-7 lead.
Yeah, look, Timberwolves fans are among the best in the league. They appreciate their team, they urge them on, and they really get excited when they're good.
Buddy Hield coming out of the timeout. Nice play set up. And Hield knocks down a three-pointer.
Well, and Steve Kerr gets 4 starters back on the floor with Guy Santos.
How about that start? 0 for 8 for the Wolves in the three-point category at this point. And they've already hit 4. Edwards drives, explodes to the basket, missed it, and Butler is there for the rebound. Edwards thought he was fouled.
I'll tell you what, he's really missed a lot of layups. So, and even if there is a little bit of contact, it's contact that Anthony Edwards normally finishes through, and he knows that.
Santos looking for Podziemski, who springs free and lays it in. Well, good execution by the Warriors. Santos, known as a great defender, and he makes a nice pass there to pick up an assist. Reed DiVincenzo and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. This terrific trio coming off the bench for Chris Finch. Pretty tight 8-man rotation. Edwards, the pull-by of Buddy Hield. You're not going to miss that one.
No, and there's no help whatsoever from the Warriors. No rotation at all.
Again, Podziemski, same play, and a little floater, no good. Randall with the rebound.
Chris Finch just very upset still with their defense. It's simply Podziemski screening. The Wolves are switching that split action, and then he, as the screener, is able to slip to the rim.
Santos fouls Randall on his way in, and free throws for Julius Randle.
And here's the drive, and literally nobody coming to help. Podziemski not coming. That is poor defense to be very understated.
27-12. Wolves lead it. Under a minute to go in this first quarter. And Randall knocks down the first foul shot. And a chance to remind you, don't miss a playoff moment with the NBA app. You can download the app today for the latest scores, highlights, behind-the-scenes access to all the drama. Download the NBA app today. It's powered by Microsoft. Julius Randle had that adductor injury, missed all of February. Wolves had started to play better and started to turn it around right at the end of December, right about Christmas time. Chris Finch said he thought they'd finally locked in, but when they got Randle back, he was a difference maker for them. Former most improved player in the NBA and a 2-time All-Star with the Knicks. Butler hears the boos. Draymond Green for 3, got it. Green's been shooting it well the last 3 games.
In the first 6 playoff games, Draymond Green made 6 threes. In the last 2.25 games, he's made 7.
Green with a slap down. And Podziemski able to save it, but had to put it in play in no man's land, and it's right to Edwards.
Well, he got tackled by Buddy Hield.
Shot clock is off. Edwards probing here. Randall kicks it. Great ball movement, but the Warriors are with him every step. And the three-point try, no good. Santos with a rebound. Podziemski got it off late, and that'll take us to the end of the first quarter, and it was all Minnesota. The Warriors managed just 15 points. The Wolves with 29 on the board, knocking down 4 three-pointers. You're watching the second round presented by Wingstop. Patron Tequila, and we're talking about Draymond Green and Buddy Hield.
Yeah, the first 6 playoff games, they averaged 13.8 points. Combined, the last 2, 45.5. And moments ago, Lauren Jabara talked to Warriors head coach Steve Kerr.
Coach, I know the margin of error shrinks when Steph's not on the floor. Defensively, how do you offset this hot start that the Timberwolves are having right now?
I know that I love you so much, Jamila. Ooh, yes I do. You left my world and left me so cold. Now I'm wondering how I'm gonna get you back. Hey, nasa napata mikirai, Jamila kiyape mung. Na dawo gida ban ga Jamila ba, na dawo gida ban ji muryanta ba. Hey, wayo, a neman mun Jamila. Jamila, don Allah gida gida, babu abin da zai raba mu har abada. Jamila, zuciya na ɓaciwa. Gida gida, gida gida, gida gida. Ooh, no matter what people do or say, this love will never die. If I knew I never hurt you so bad, drinking so much, too much women.